Hi everybody, we're doing another Thoth video and I'm so excited for this one because we're not only going to be talking, kind of like in my other videos, we're not going to be talking about just the deck. We're going real slow here, people, and today is an exciting topic and I've seen a lot of, I've kind of researched this a little bit. Y'all know me, a researcher, and I very much think that Aleister Crowley and Lady Frida Harris put sacred geometry in their deck. And I love sacred geometry because at its core, it makes up everything in reality, okay? So we're going to do a mini lesson, and then we're going to look at some cards, okay? Maybe a few more than we did in my last video. We're really trying to see some actual shapes and sacred geometry, okay? So first, we're going to do, like I said, the mini lesson, and then we're going to turn the camera around, and we're going to look at some cards. I made some flashcards, okay? And we're going to do part 2 when the camera is around. That's where I'm going to show you my flashcards, and we're really going to kind of dive into what the shapes are and possibly what they can mean. So, let's get started. Okay. Now, for those of you who don't know what sacred geometry is, okay, and I don't want you to feel discouraged, okay? I don't want you to think, oh my God, am I back in 10th grade math class? No, okay? It's not going to be like that at all. And we're trying to think of this in not in a math sense, okay, because that's there, but I want you to think of it in terms of like spirituality, okay? We're only looking at these shapes spiritually and esoterically, okay? Now, it does say that these are shapes and symbols that have sacred meaning like I just said, esotericism, stuff like that. The term could describe geometrical laws that make up everything in existence. And these shapes and these particular shapes that we're going to go over are very much what I consider geometric archetypes, okay? They make up everything, they're embedded into everything, and so first I want to talk about the point, okay? So picture think about the creation story, okay? So this all being, this creator, okay? He, she, whoever, they are floating in a void, okay? This void is just nothingness, it's blackness, okay? And they're floating there. And one day, okay, they realize they can't go anywhere. They can't move, they can't like fly through this nothingness, okay? They're literally just there. And the creator, okay, realized that the only way that they could do something was in relation to something else. So if there's absolutely nothing there, they had to expand their consciousness, so to speak, okay? They had to expand their consciousness, and then they could kind of bounce off from this. They had to make something and then bloom out from there, okay? I guess because they didn't want to just float there for all eternity. So, picture a point, okay? Now that's this spark of consciousness, okay? The beginning, the all beginning, okay? And when they decided that they needed to create something to be able to bounce off of, and they need to have, so to speak, two. So it's the creator, he needed to have something to bounce off of, and then the consciousness can really expand and form to all infinity. Think, if you're already familiar, think flower of life, okay? This is the same, we're going to get there, okay? So there's the point, and then they made a sphere. They branched out and made this sphere. Now the point is invisible, okay, but it's in the center of this sphere. And then, so from there, what happens? From there, they make a different sphere, because then there's a point all along, there's a point anywhere along the circle, okay? And then they branched out again and made 2 circles, okay? Which when you think about it, and I'll go over this a little bit in my visual drawing lesson, is in the middle of that is the Vesica Pisces, which mathematicians who study sacred geometry, not just geometry, but sacred geometry, they believe that in between the two circles is the creation of light. And so there was nothingness, and then there's these circles or spheres, and then another sphere. Well, there's still nothingness. There's still a void back behind all these spheres, okay? So the scientists that study this believe that in the Vesica Pisces, which is kind of shaped like, think fish, okay? Like the body of a fish. Because it's like Venn diagram-esque, okay? That is in the middle of those two circles, those first two circles is the Vesica Pisces, and that's the creation of light. So if you kind of think about that, light, all over this flower of life shape, then we're starting to see lots of patterns and lots of things that we can just find right in nature. And I'm not talking nature like just flowers. I'm talking everything man did not make. Okay? That's just there, like grass. Okay? Water. Or, unfiltered. Mountain stream water, okay? Waterfall water. I'm talking about things we as men, as humans, did not make. This is naturally there stuff that we're talking about. Just for a clarifier. Now think about, let's go back to the sphere for a second. If we thought about that, what are some keywords that we could plug into that? Okay? Unity, oneness, wholeness, okay? Again, when you're talking kind of sacred union or esotericism, that would probably be the female aspect, okay? Now we're talking system thinking here a little bit. In all systems, there's a feminine and a masculine that have to be there. And our sphere around this point, okay, would be the feminine aspect. Well, then what would be next, right? What would be, after you've made a couple of circles branching out around this flower of life shape, then, okay, and then you kind of think, well, what would be the masculine of that? A cube. Okay. I very much do want to give you a visual lesson. So we're going to turn the camera around, and I'm going to draw some shapes for you. And I've also left a couple of, I've made up some Word documents for you to look at that will show some of the things that I'm talking about, okay? Like I said, we're doing a mini lesson here, a mini lesson visual style, and then we'll look at some cards and figure out if we can find some. We're back, and I have some flashcards and some Thoth tarot cards to show you. And this is going to be like a visual mini lesson, okay? So everybody sit back and relax while I go over what information I have for you today. Now, we kind of talked about this point, okay? This, I think I called it the spark of consciousness, okay? So all of this back here, I should have used black. All of this back here is the void, right? And there's the creation, right? They are just kind of floating there in this nothingness, okay? You cannot move, you can't fly something, okay? Remember I said there's a sphere here. So what are we going to do? So remember, like I said, he has to have something for everything else to bounce off of, right? So this is the sphere that has been created, right? Now, we're going to keep expanding here, okay? Because if the only thing is just this sphere, right? And now the point has become invisible. And there's points all along this. Well, there's still a lot of void out here. So the consciousness wants to keep going, right? They want to just keep evolving, okay? So that's exactly what happened. Now, we're going to go off of that point, right? That one circle, and now we've got two, right? Now, this is the Vesica Pisces. This two circles isn't the Vesica Pisces.
this fish, the body of a fish symbol right here that I talked about, is the Vesica Pisces, okay? Pisces fish. Ooh. And this, according to mathematicians that study sacred geometry, okay, we already talked about what that was, this would be the creation of light, okay? And if you're already familiar with sacred geometry, and if we keep expanding, right, there's going to be a whole bunch of these light fishes, okay? And like I said, we're going to just keep right along with these flashcards of mine, because I want to very much get through this quickly and show you the tarot cards. Okay, so now this, I call this, you could call it the Holy Trinity, the Trinity, whatever. It's 3 circles, okay, to Trinity. You see this beautiful triqueta in the middle here. And think about this Vesica Pisces, okay, and then this middle part. Think about how bright just this middle of all 3 of these, one here, okay, and one here. So that's 3 Vesica Pisces, actually. So the middle right here, that's a lot of light coming in. Again, we're still seeing a lot of void back here, right? A lot of empty space, a lot of nothingness. So we're going to keep going, okay? Now next, okay, if we keep expanding, we're going to double the Holy Trinity, okay? This is 6 circles. And think of this is why it's called the seed of life. I believe that in my research, okay, in my research brain, okay, I've plugged the fact that this might be the 6 days of creation, okay? Because remember, the 7th in all creation stories was like what they consider a rest day. So these are the 6 days, okay? And look at all the Vesica Pisces here. And look at this flower-like symbol right in the middle here. That's a whole bunch of light. Still a lot going on here as far as creation, but then there's still some void, right? We still have lots to go. Now, the very next symbol, okay, is this. We keep on expanding here, okay? Now, this is 19 circles, and I have drawn this freehand, so excuse that. But I have drawn this, and you see this line right here. It stops at 19. This stops at 19 circles, okay? So we've gone way more. We've jumped way more than the 6 from the seed of life, okay? And this is the flower of life. This is everything bloomed out, right? And a lot of symbols can be plugged into this, like this familiar symbol, okay? Now this is bigger than this, but inside this, with its line stopping it at the 19 circles, the tree of life fits into it, okay? Also, another symbol, which we'll go over, okay? So let's take the flower of life and put that away somewhere. And then we have these 2 symbols, right? Well, we already know the tree of life, okay? Eliphas Levi, okay, was the scholar that attributed the Sephiras and the lines connecting them to either the major arcana or the minor arcana. And I have a whole video coming up on the tree of life and the tarot all by itself, okay? So we're not going to go over that today. And then we have this egg of life. Now, why is it called the egg? We have the seed, right? This is the egg. Now, this is inside also this. Now, this is some of the circles being shoved together, okay? Some of these circles, you get this. Now, this is very much a 3D model, right? Now, back to why it's called the egg, okay? It's called the egg because the very first cell of a human looks like this. Actually, it has a ring around it, just like this has a ring around it, okay? So this is the very beginning of you. That's why it's called the egg, okay? So we're going to go back. We're going to come back to this in just a minute, okay? The Egyptians believed that this flower of life symbol, which is found in a lot of ruins over in Egypt, okay, was so sacred, they had to put this line around it. Okay? They had to put this line around it. And okay, but I want to look at this. You see this around here? Mathematicians, okay, sacred geometers, I don't know what the term for that teacher is. They call this the Zona Pellucida, okay, which is exactly the name of the outside of an egg, a female egg, okay, which is what the egg of life is in, right? Way before, okay, this is like an ovum, but this is the egg. Now the line is, there's a cushy part right along this, along the line of an egg that's in an ovary, okay, and they call that the Zona Pellucida, okay, so they've dubbed this line, the mathematicians have dubbed this line with the same name, okay. The Egyptians thought that this symbol, okay, which is found in in a lot of ruins, okay, I'm not going to say all, but a lot of ruins over in Egypt, with this line, with this Zona Pellucida around it. Now, why do you think that is? Because they thought that this was so sacred, it had to be hidden, almost, right? Never letting on that this could be expanded, that it's going further. Because we can find all of reality, all of nature-made reality, all with just in this symbol right here with the line around it. So the Egyptians were like, okay, well, they've got enough information. We're going to stop them right there, okay? But they've learned we can keep going. And what we find when we keep going and what we keep expanding is really profound, okay? And I'm going to go over that right now. When you expand the flower of life, okay, and you add circles along this outside edge where that circle, where that Zona Pellucida was, you get this shape. Again, I've drawn this freehand, so forgive my drawing skills. Now, see, with it expanded, we no longer have to, this will still fit, okay, but this is the 3D model because of the Zona Pellucida. Again, sacred in its own right because it's the cell, right? This is the cell of everyone, all humans and even beyond humans, okay? So this is the very first cell of all, okay? Which is pretty interesting. But we're looking at this in expanded form, okay? Like I said, I don't want anyone to think we're in 10th grade math class with this. But we are expanding, okay? We've expanded this and added some circles. Now within this, we're going to find another shape, okay? It's called the fruit of life. Again, freehand. These are supposed to be symmetrical circles with all of it, okay? There's 5 here, 5 here, and 5 here, okay? And we find this in this expanded form of the flower of life, okay? So let's take this away for a minute, okay? Now this is the most sacred 13 circle shape because it's the shape of our natural reality and what it stems from. Again, I'm trying to get through this kind of quick, so I'm hoping everyone's following along. Now we're going to take this and we're going to do something really special with it, okay? We're going to do something really special with this fruit of life, okay? Now I said before, the sphere, now these are spheres, okay? The sphere is the female, right? And what did I say the masculine would be? That's the linear, right? The lines, the stability of it. Well, this doesn't have any lines, no stability. So we're going to put it there. And I'm going to try my best to map it out for you in a lesson. And maybe you can start drawing this on some notebooks yourself. Okay. So I've drawn one right here. Another fruit of life. Okay. Now we're going to take my handy dandy Sharpie here. Okay. I'm going to give you a visual lesson on Metatron's cube. So what we are doing, okay, we're going to add some lines to this. We're going to add the masculine to all this feminine that we're finding here, okay? So we're going to take the center of this circle and we're going to take a line down this middle, okay? Then you're going to take and you're going to plug out and connect all the circles that are in its vicinity. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to do that. Here's the middle. We're going to draw the middle in all of these. Okay? As best as we can, because remember, I'm doing this freehand. So we're going to connect them. Okay? Ooh, we're starting to see some things. Okay, then we're going to turn it around, right? Actually. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. I have to get into we're going to get into some numerology soon. Okay, now we're going to turn it around. And this is going to be the top. Again, this is not symmetrical. I apologize about that. And then we're going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's already there. 5, 6, 7. We're going to keep going. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? Some of them are already going to be done. Okay? But some of them won't. And you just map it out how you can. Okay? Whichever aren't done. And that one goes there. Okay? See, that one's already done. And then you just figure out which one hasn't been done. And you connect that one. Right? Is that one connected to there? Maybe. Anyway. So, this symbol, right? I should have drawn it bigger. Okay? But you get the idea. We've taken the fruit of life and we've added masculine lines to it, and we get Metatron's cube. Metatron's cube. The form of masculine and feminine right here in a shape. That is eye-opening, okay? Now remember, we could only get this with an expanded flower of life, which the Egyptians have hid for centuries, okay? Now within this, we find the 5 Platonic solids within this Metatron's cube. Okay? Now I'm about to show you what the Platonic solids are. Okay? Okay? Now, before I get to the Platonic solids, I want to do an honorable mention of this egg. Okay? Remember, this is the egg. This is inside of an egg in an ovary. The very beginning of life. Okay? That's the very first cell. And I want to show you a very interesting part. Again, this is spheres 3D. Okay? I'm going to show you something real interesting that we can do with shapes. Okay? Ooh, I wonder what this is going to be. Connect all the centers. Okay? Again, this is not symmetrical. I'm doing it freehand, people. This is a cube. So that's the masculine and feminine even then, before we even get to Metatron's cube. Right? Inside the egg is the masculine. You can call that the sperm, right? See? We saw that way before. But we're going to go on to the Platonic solids, okay? Let's move that over. Should have made these cards small. Okay, so here's all the 5. Okay, we've got the Tetrahedron. Okay, that's like the triangle, like the 3D. Think of these in 3D. This is a 3D, pyramid. No, it's not an actual pyramid because it's only got 3 sides. Okay, so scratch that. The tetrahedron. This is a 3-sided pyramid. This is tetrahedron, and this is associated with fire. Then we have the cube, and that's earth. Well, that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? And then we've got the octahedron. Octa, we got 8 triangles here, okay, in 3D form. And that's associated with air. Then we have the dodecahedron, right? And this is a whole bunch of hexagons, right? A whole bunch. And Plato has attributed this with the cosmos or spirit, like the ethereal, like the ether element, okay? So like the 5th element. And then we have the icosahedron, which is water. Okay? Look at all those triangles. That's a stable shape right there. Okay? Now, what we're all here for is sacred geometry in the Thoth deck. Okay? Okay. So I've got the 5 Platonic solids at the top here, and we're going to go And we're going to go through some cards, and we're going to search out some of these 5 elements, okay? Now this is the High Priestess card, okay? And before we get into the 5 solids, I want to point out something that I learned about geometry, math, okay, or whatever. This net here, okay, that she's holding, it very much looks like she's holding a fish net, okay? Like she's scoping out. Remember those like in old films where they would be holding these nets to catch the fish at the shore? It kind of looks like that, but this isn't that. This is very much a net, but this is a torus, okay? Now a torus is a rotating line tangent, okay? And it's actually going like this, okay? I want you to picture a donut, an actual donut. No frosting, people. And it's moving constantly in the hole, this way. In, out, like this. In this motion. All the way around this donut, it's moving inward. Okay? That's called a torus. And that's what this is. Okay? If you think about the High Priestess and what she symbolizes and what this card means, that makes perfect sense that she would constantly be rotating inward right here to herself. To gain the insight, she has to go in, right? So that makes perfect sense for this rotating line tangent to be right here in this card. Okay, so most of the Platonic solids are down here at her feet, okay? Again, we're not going over symbolism here. We're just talking Platonic solids, okay? And let's zoom in here. Okay, I want you to look right here. Some of these crystal-looking things. Okay, there's food here. There's feathers. There's all kinds of things going on. Okay. Now, right here, that's a dodecahedron. That's right here. Right? Look at all those hexagons. That's the cosmos. Again, makes perfect sense, right? The cosmos, the spirit, the ether element is right here in the bottom of her card, right? She's like the conduit between the two, between herself and the spirit, okay? So that dodecahedron there makes perfect sense. And then we see all of these right here is a tetrahedron, right? So that's fire, right? You're thinking fire, you think wands, right? You think that passion, that energy, right? Again, think of that torus. You have to have that passion, that drive to be able to constantly rotate in to get any kind of information. And that's what's happening with this tetrahedron. Okay? Now, the book of Thoth says that she's the veil that hides the spirit. She's the truth beyond the veil. So, esoterically, the tetrahedron, okay, and the dodecahedron, it's like it's creating this natural balance, okay, between the so with the dodecahedron and the tetrahedron, she very much is probably creating a natural balance between the fire and the passion of the physical and the spirit, which is a profound thought if you think about the Platonic solids in this card, okay? Now, esoterically, the dodecahedron is, of course, associated with like the idolized form of the divine. So thought, will, or an idea of the divine. Okay, the divine spirit. Now I can kind of pick out right here. You see all these triangles? This crystal right here let's get a close up. This could be an icosahedron, right? Which is water. So we've got fire and water. Now what could that mean? That's both, right? This could very much be not a fight, but like I said, having the duality of the physical, so fire and water, right? You need both, or you don't need both, but when having both, she's creating the actual physical plane, and then she's got the spirit realm within her too. Like I said, the torus. She's constantly rotating in to find the spirit of herself, okay? So, interesting. Okay, moving all right along here, people. The next is the Hierophant. Okay? He looks so regal right here in the Thoth deck. Okay? I actually like this Hierophant, which if you've watched any of my other videos, I don't always. Okay. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of shape here, which could be pentagrams. There's some hexagons here and dancing babies, and then this beautiful female figure here that the Book of Thoth says that she is the priest, okay, this conduit between spirit and you, okay, the everyday man. She's his right-hand woman. No longer the passive virginal goddess, okay? She is the priestess standing here in military form, ready to fight, okay, for what he is conducting. That's what the Book of Thoth says. Okay, let's get a close-up. Now, as I hold this here, I want you to kind of see some of the shapes. Now, I have picked out the Icosahedron, okay, and right here in the center, okay, or not this hexagon, but everything else, okay, it kind of looks like it's opened, like this 3D shape has just bloomed out. This Icosahedron, which is water, okay, flowing free, right, he's freeing you. This priest figure is freeing you from by you asking him for forgiveness, and, he's taking your chains, or supposed to, okay, supposed to. And according to the Book of Thoth, he's a conduit between living man and spirit. So living man, like I already said, living man, us, and the spirit. So he's just the middleman, like I said in a previous video. But look at the wand here. Okay, this is not even a Platonic solid. This is the Holy Trinity he's holding. Okay, there's some importance in this Holy Trinity here. Look at all those Vesica Pisces, right? It's the Holy Trinity, and he's holding it, and he's almost like he's governing all three, which he is as the priest, as this Pope. Okay? Okay, we're going to move along because it's so long already. Okay, this is like my favorite hermit card ever, okay? Because I have a thing for lanterns. And his lantern is a octahedron, right? There's 8 sides, 8 faces to this lantern. I'll give you a close-up. I don't like it being way down there. Look at that. See all these light shards? They're all pointing to something, okay? So there's light coming from the cosmos, okay? There's light coming from there. There's light coming from this, okay, from the grain. And this is the line of light between the conscious and the unconscious, okay? Think the underworld. That's where, this is why the Cerberus is down here. And that's also where this spermatozoid is, okay? Crowley's very sex magic in his cards. And if you are versed in ceremonial or sex magic, some of this will make sense. And then some of it you can just put your own interpretations on, like in terms of this egg with the snake, the spermatozoid, this triple-headed dog here, the sun inside of this octahedron, okay? And I love that there's lots of light. I love the light in this card because you always think of the hermit as by himself and there's no light there. But think again about why it would be air, right? If you think of air, think of like the sword suit. This is mental, right? He's going inside here to find stuff out, okay? That's what he's doing. He's using his light to go in here. Even though he's wearing a mask. So he's wearing the ibis mask, which is the Thoth, which is who? The god of, exactly, wisdom. So, and I think the light here could be coming from his brain, right? We don't know because it doesn't actually say in the Book of Thoth. But the air, just this one symbol that we find in the Hermit card, this this octahedron lantern, says enough. This is thought. This is a thought card. This is a thinking card. This is a go within and think about what all you've encountered. Okay? Especially if you're talking about the Fool's Journey. Okay. Moving right along, because we've got a few more to go through. Okay. This is the tower, right? Look how geometric lined up this is. Okay? I've actually found, according to Crowley, okay, in the Book of Thoth, this is the manifestation of cosmic energy in its grossest form. What could that mean? Well, of course, I think of this maybe as like a natural disaster. Think forest fires, think lightning strikes, tsunamis, floods, right? Those are natural disasters that will happen, that are naturally happening. Sometimes they need to happen for stuff to grow and there be the bliss on the other side. Remember, we've talked about the bliss being the other side of whatever is happening here in the Tower card. Okay, now we find some actual personal natural disasters, things we can't control, right? But he talked about this in a natural way, in a natural disaster way. And he states that the figures, okay, these geometric humanoids right here, okay, look at all those triangles. Wow. They've lost their human figure because they've been confined to this organized life in this castle, okay? This tower, okay, this house of God is a confinement. And they've been so, like, choked almost by the organization and clinging to it, okay? Only to be losing themselves along the way. And they've lost their human figure. They've lost who they really are because of the confinement they felt inside the tower. Now, the shape behind the turret, okay, I call this a turret, right? This shape right here, where the humanoid figures are, okay, is an Icosahedron. Well, that's water. Now, if this is a fire card, right, there's a whole bunch of color symbolism that we could go into with this being a fire card, okay? Right here, Mars, fire, okay? With this being a fire card, Crowley knew he had to put the water in there, right? Because if you expand this, you get this shape with all these triangles. He needed the water because they've lost themselves along this organized life, but then they're going to get poured with water. Once they get poured with water and get out of the confinement and put the fire that's in themselves out, so to speak, okay? They'll make it. They'll become themselves again. So that's a powerful thing to think about when it's like the water will start them anew. And I think that that's a powerful concept to grasp in the Tower card. Cups. Oh, she is so lovely. This is the Princess of Cups, and she is so lovely here because look at her billowing dress here, okay? It's just like, you know? And all the princesses are the spirit of their suit, okay? So this is the spirit of Cups. So this is the Princess of Cups. And look at all of these rich water symbols, okay? Now, she's not yet a natural phenomenon that's found in the natural world, but the embodiment of her whole suit, okay? Like the earth of her suit. So she's the earth of her suit, according to Crowley. But let's see, spy 11 dodecahedrons. I spy 11 dodecahedrons right here on her skirt, or on her dress, this ethereal dress she's wearing that we all want, right? Now, what did we say the dodecahedron was? Okay? The cosmos, right? She's the spirit of her suit. That makes perfect sense. And there's 11 of them. Okay? There's a lot of spirit in this card. If this dodecahedron means, remember what we talked about in the other card, a divine thought, will of spirit. Okay? Then that means the divine thought or idea of water, right? Because that's the element with this card. Well, the earth, the spirit of water, that would be like a crystal formation and the beauty and the secretness of that. Pretty interesting, right? Oh, I love this card. Okay, moving on. This is the Eight of Wands. And like I said in this video, I don't always like these words, and I've got a whole video on these keywords that Crowley put out, okay? Big plans, people. But he calls it swiftness, right? And well, if you think about the Rider-Waite, and there's just like eight wands just flowing out really fast. So that kind of makes sense, right? But there is a giant, look at this giant octahedron here, okay? That's air. Well, if this is swiftness, that's a lot of air being blasted out in all sides, right? He's just, all this air is coming at you in all of these lightning strikes, or the bands of swiftness, I'll call them. Now, also, what's interesting is because this is an octahedron, that's 8 sides. This has 8 sides. Okay? Again, numerology video coming up soon. Now, if we look at this in a tree of life way, then the 8s would be splendor on the tree of life, okay? And wands are fire. So that's the splendor of fire. Again, I'm trying to mix the two. I'm trying to make a point here, okay? And if that means that this is the remedy, this is the remedy, according to the Book of Thoth, after the error of the 7s. So whatever the error, okay, like remember the severity of the 7s. Whatever we've endured in the severity, this is the remedy, the swiftness, right? This is flight. This is not fight. This is, you need to go, okay? You need to be dead, okay? So, and again, that's the only shape here. We've got a square here, but I can't tell if it's a cube, so we'll move along from that. Here's the Prince of Swords. Oh, I love all the court cards in the Thoth because he just really goes all out with it, okay? Again, we see an octahedron here, okay? Swords is air, right? Swords is air, is the air suit, so that makes sense there, okay? Right here in the middle of his chariot, he's got a whole bunch of air, okay? But in the Book of Thoth, this says he has no direction, he has no plan. Look at all this chaos back here, right? So if he's the airy part of air, right? Air. This is air on top of air. This is what he is. Then what's the airy part of air? Clouds. No plan, no direction. He's just going wherever the hell he wants. Okay? No plan. Right? He's full of ideas and designs, and they flow everywhere in all of these different directions. Right? And so he's got all these ideas, and he's just going. You see all these little homunculuses right here? They're just going in all directions. So that shape makes sense. A lot of these make sense. So I'm happy that we're making sense here, people. Okay, next is the Three of Discs. I love this card. Look at this. Look at this. This is my reference photo, people. This is the Three of Discs, okay? So if we think of this card, okay, and there is actually quite a few pentacle / disc cards here in my stack that I'm about to show you. And think about the importance of that for a second, because this is our first disc. And the remaining cards are discs. This is the tetrahedron, right? So this is fire. Well, discs are earth. So why wouldn't we have a cube? Well, this is 3 sides. Because this makes more sense. Because we're not as stable as the 4s yet. We're not as stable as earth, right? More on the earth part of it when we get to the court cards, because those have actual elemental meanings. Now this tetrahedron, okay, it's in the very center. This fire shape. So this card is a working card, like a creating stability that comes with the 4s, but you're hard at work. You're hard at work rotating all these wheels, right? And the fire from this tetrahedron, that's the fire under your butt. You're working really, really hard to get to the stability of the 4. Okay? So you're in the work. The fire is under your butt. Okay, that's how I kind of think of it. Okay, let's move. All right. Court cards, and these are beautiful. Okay. This is the Princess of Disc. Now, she's the earthy part of Earth. So her wand, okay, that's going into the depths of the Earth right here. Okay. Again, we'll do a close-up here. Okay. See this? This is an octahedron right here. Her staff has an octahedron on it. Now that's air. Now, in my opinion, all that means is that she's keeping all of her earthly secrets to herself. That's what that means. This air is thinking, right? She's keeping all of her secrets, all of her agricultural secrets, how the earth is fertilized, okay? That base question we all have, how is the earth able to fertilize itself? Those base questions, she holds the key, right? And you can tell that right there in the air. She's got all the thoughts, okay? She's out there. She might not be doing much of the work, but she's holding the keys and the secrets. Man, it makes perfect sense if you think about it. Okay. Prince of Discs. Okay, look at that bull. Ugh, he looks mean, doesn't he? So, again, I talked about the element associations with both, or with all the court cards. Okay, so they're like, there's something with their suit. Okay, and in this, again, and he's the airy part of Earth. So what would be the airy part of Earth? Well, Crowley states that that's plain. That's the plains. Okay, this is grazing land. Okay, so think about a field full of just grass. Okay, this is not planting. Okay, they're animal land. Okay, so that's kind of how I think about the airy part of Earth and how he associated that with the grazing, flat land. And he holds a sphere, right? This lovely globe. Right here in the center, there's a cube. Earth. Wow. Meaning that sphere is the agricultural earth part of vegetation. There's a lot going on. He knew a lot about sacred geometry, didn't he? Okay. The last card we'll go over is my absolute favorite Thoth card ever. And it's the Queen of Discs. Okay. Look at her. Look how regal. Don't we all want her horns? I mean, hello, yes. And I very much should have used her in my idolization. So, shout out. Now, we could go over the beautification that I will associate with every single symbolism in here, but we're just talking the sacred geometry today, people. Look at this right here. Again, we're going to have to do a close-up. Look at that. That's a cube. That's Earth, right? Again with the Earth. But in the center of the cube, the very center, okay, I don't know if you can make that out, that's an Icosahedron. That's water. She's the water part of Earth. In her court, this court card is the water part of Earth. So it's like they knew right away to put the water inside the Earth. Okay, think stream, right? It's the quiet, spiritualized bearing of plant and animal life. This is her job. She's bearing the animal, she's bearing enough land, or she's cultivating the land and the earth to bear animals and plant life. That's her job. Okay? Well, when we think about jobs, okay? And not to mention her disc, right? Look at this disc. That's the flower of life. Her disc is a flower of life, people. She's got light and earth and water right here in this one card. She's the person that is ambitious, but in a practical way. She's using her ambition and she's actually doing something practical with it. So, I hope everyone had fun. I hope that this was informative, and I hope that it kind of gets you going to where you really want to take the Thoth along with you on journeys that aren't just about face value here. Okay? Like I said, today we talked about sacred geometry. Tomorrow we'll talk about something else. And I want you to just be able to shuffle these and see more than just what the faces are telling you. Let's really dive. So I hope everybody has a good day.